This man was rejected 1,009 times. Investors laughed at him. Banks called him crazy. His family said, "Give up." Today, his recipe is worth $15 billion. Here's what he did every morning at 4:30 a.m. that changed everything. By the end of this video, you'll know his exact formula and the 3 principles that turned failure into fortune. At age 65, when most people retire, Colonel Sanders was completely broke, living on just $99 a month from Social Security. His wife had left him. His restaurant had failed. He had nothing. But Sanders had one thing, his secret chicken recipe. He loaded his car with cooking equipment and drove across America. Restaurant after restaurant, rejection after rejection. Your chicken is terrible. We're not interested. Don't waste our time. 1,009 rejections. Most people would quit after 10, after 50, after 100, but not Sanders. Every morning at 4:30 a.m., while everyone was sleeping, he would write down 3 things: his vision, his why, and one action for today. Then came restaurant number 1010. The owner tasted the chicken, paused, and said, "This is incredible. Let's make a deal." That was the birth of KFC. Here's what Sanders knew that most people don't. Every rejection brings you closer to yes. Success isn't about talent. It's about persistence. Subscribe if this inspired you, and next week I'll reveal how Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. In 1908, Sanders married Josephine King. They had 3 children together. But Sanders' constant business failures put enormous strain on the family. He tried running a lamp company. Failed. He tried selling insurance. Failed. He tried practicing law. Failed. His wife Josephine grew tired of the constant financial stress. She would say, "Harland, when will you just get a normal job and stop chasing these crazy dreams?" But Sanders couldn't stop. He had a fire inside him that wouldn't die. After rebuilding his restaurant, Sanders became obsessed with perfecting his chicken recipe. He would wake up at 4:30 every morning, not to exercise or meditate, but to experiment with spices. 11 herbs and spices, to be exact. He tried hundreds of combinations: salt, pepper, paprika, garlic powder, onion salt, celery salt, dried basil, dried marjoram, oregano, white pepper, and one secret ingredient he never revealed. Each batch, he would taste, adjust, and try again. His neighbors thought he was crazy, spending so much time on chicken. By 1952, Sanders' restaurant was thriving. He had over 142 seats, and people came from all over the country. Then disaster struck. The government decided to build Interstate 75, but it would bypass his town completely. Overnight, his customer traffic dropped by 90%. At age 62, Sanders watched his life's work crumble. The restaurant that took him 20 years to build was now worthless. His wife filed for divorce. His children stopped talking to him. He was alone, broke, and too old to start over. Or so everyone thought. At age 65, Sanders received his first Social Security check, $99. He sat in his empty restaurant, holding that check, and realized this was supposed to be his retirement income, $99 a month. He looked around at the empty tables, the dusty kitchen, the dreams that had died. Most people would accept defeat. But Sanders had one thing left: his recipe, and a crazy idea. What if he could convince other restaurants to use his recipe and pay him a royalty? What if he could franchise his chicken? It was insane. No one had ever done anything like this before. Sanders loaded his 1946 Ford with a pressure cooker, spices, and enough determination to move mountains. His plan was simple but crazy. Drive to restaurants across America, cook his chicken for the owners, and if they liked it, offer them his secret recipe in exchange for a nickel per chicken sold. His friends called him delusional. "Harland, you're 65 years old. Stay home. Accept your fate." But Sanders had calculated something. If he could get just 100 restaurants to sell his chicken, and each sold just 20 chickens a day, he would make $100 a day. More than his Social Security. The first restaurant owner took one bite and said, "This tastes like cardboard. Get out." The second owner didn't even let him cook. "We don't need some old man's chicken recipe." The 10th owner called security. The 50th owner laughed in his face. By rejection number 100, Sanders was sleeping in his car, living on crackers and water. His clothes were wrinkled, his hair was messy, and he looked like a homeless man. Restaurant owners would see him coming and lock their damaged equipment, and for the first time in his life, he considered giving up. He was 66 years old, had been on the road for 2 years, and had exactly $17 to his name. He wrote in his notebook that night, "Maybe this is it. Maybe I should go home and accept defeat." But then he wrote something else. "One more try. Just one more." Restaurant number 1010 was in South Salt Lake City. Pete Harmon owned a small diner called Do Drop In. Sanders walked in, looking defeated, and said, "Sir, I know you probably don't want to hear this, but I have a chicken recipe that could change your business." Harmon looked at this tired old man and felt sorry for him. "Okay, cook me some chicken." Sanders prepared his recipe with shaking hands. Harmon took one bite, then another, then another. He looked up at Sanders and said, "This is the best chicken I've ever tasted. Let's make a deal." That handshake created Kentucky Fried Chicken. Within 2 years, Sanders had over 600 franchises. By 1964, he sold KFC for $2 million, worth over $15 million today. But here's the real lesson. Sanders didn't succeed because he was talented. He succeeded because he understood 3 principles. First, every no gets you closer to yes. Second, your age is not your cage. He started his empire at 65. Third, your current situation is not your final destination. So the next time someone rejects your idea, remember Colonel Sanders. Remember that success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about failing forward. Subscribe for more stories that will change your mindset. And remember, your breakthrough might be just one rejection away.